Hey, what's going on, guys? Well, welcome back for Chapter 8, the book of Revelation. We are continuing our way through the entirety of the book. Of course, I could not do this alone, thanks to my mother-in-law, Bev. So we're picking it back up today where we left off yesterday in Chapter 7. Kind of starting a new section today as well, really the third section of the literary structure of the book, which is 7 sections total. We're starting it on the third today, but really the first 5 verses still kind of touch back on that second section dealing with the seals, and it's really the opening of the 7th seal, which is what we've all been waiting for.
Yes.
But today specifically, kind of looking beyond that 7th seal into the rest of the chapter, this really sets up the stage for the kingdom of darkness starting to be judged. And really, what's happening in this chapter, I would say, is that the kingdom of darkness is being exposed, is probably the best way to summarize that.
Yes.
Okay.
That's really clear.
So why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a recap. Again, if you haven't watched the previous chapter, make sure and watch that first, then come back and watch this one. It'll help. But why don't we recap a little bit about yesterday, and then I'll go ahead and let you wrap up these first 5 verses talking about that 7th seal.
Thank you, Ben. I'm really excited today about the 7th seal being opened. As you know, we had the 6 seals before.
Right.
And in the 6th seal, there was an important question asked by those who were being judged and the wrath of God being poured out. And they said, the great day of God's wrath has come, and who can stand?
Right. I remember that.
And then the last chapter was the intermission. Now, I know we talked about what that was, but Ben, I discovered it is an intermission.
Oh, okay. All right.
You were right. You said this has to be an intermission. I said,
kind of almost like a temporary break, kind of was how I was thinking about it. But okay.
It's the intermission because you got to understand that question of who can stand when God's wrath falls. And the 7th seal is the end of everything. It's yet to come. What God is going to do yet, it hasn't happened yet.
Okay.
So it's the 7th seal. So we're going to start right there. So now the Lamb opens the 7th seal, and there's silence in heaven for half an hour. Next we see there's 7 angels with 7 trumpets, and that represents judgment.
Okay.
Trumpets.
Again, seeing that number 7 a lot here. Okay.
Yes, and so it's completion again. And we see an 8th angel.
8 being the number of new beginnings.
Yes.
The end of something, the beginning of something.
Yes,
so to speak.
kind of together. Yeah,
Okay,
that's right.
okay.
That would be it.
Okay.
And before I tell you about that other angel, I need to tell you about the Old Testament.
Okay, not surprising. We kind of jump back and forth a little bit here.
Yes, that Old Testament sanctuary.
Okay, okay.
And remember that one in the wilderness.
Yeah, the tabernacle.
The tabernacle.
Okay.
It's sometimes called sanctuary, but a tabernacle. And it was basically around it was this courtyard.
Right, right.
And out in the courtyard, remember, there was an altar. And that's where the sacrifice was done.
Okay.
They sacrificed the animals
Right.
on this big bronze altar.
Yes.
Okay. And then there was also the tabernacle itself. And there were 2 parts of the tabernacle. The most holy place where God dwelt and the holy place.
Okay.
Now there was a curtain in between.
Was one of those called the Holy of Holies?
Ben, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's called either the most holy place or the Holy of Holies.
Okay. I guess it just depends on which Bible you grew up with, right?
So
okay.
I'm glad you clarified that so we
Okay,
all know.
okay.
So basically there was a curtain there between it. And the only person that could go behind that curtain into that Holy of Holies was the high priest. And that's only once a year on the Day of Atonement.
Right. Really rare to even think of approaching God's presence. And I remember reading, all the ceremonial cleansing, all these different things that he had to do to even just think about going in there.
Yes, on the Day of Atonement. But yes, you're so right. It was just, no one could go in there, basically, except him then. And so the interesting thing of it is, when we see the altar sacrifice, we also have incense that was a special blend that they put on the altar of incense, which was a golden altar that was right in front of that curtain.
Okay.
And when in the morning and the evening, right after doing those sacrifices, he would light that incense from the coals off the altar, carry it in on the golden censer to carry those live coals in there to light that incense.
Okay.
And the interesting thing of it is it represented the sweet fragrance of going up from the sacrifice to God himself. He knew this pointed to Jesus Christ dying for the sins of the world to get back the family of God. So it wafted into God's presence, and we're going to see this right here in the 8th angel.
So seeing what's happening in that Old Testament tabernacle really kind of gives us a view, or at least helps us better understand what's starting to happen here.
Exactly.
Okay, got it.
One thing I'd like to say more about that Old Testament Tabernacle, is that curtain was there, even in the new temple. They had that curtain hanging there in the temple in Jerusalem.
Right. So that temple veil or curtain, so to speak, was really in both places. It was in the Old Testament tabernacle in the wilderness, but it was also in that temple in Jerusalem as well.
Yes,
okay.
They had it there.
Okay.
And it's very interesting, the very day Jesus died on the cross, do you remember?
Yes.
Remember what happened with
yes.
that? What happened with it?
Ripped into from top to bottom.
Yes.
I always thought
Yes.
that was significant.
Yes.
Top to bottom. I loved it. And from what I've read historically, I mean, this thing was thick.
Yes.
It wasn't just like, some sheet that you could rip on your own. No person by themselves could do it.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it had to be God himself, and it happened the very minute Jesus said, "It is finished."
Wow.
God did that.
Wow.
Ripped it, showing that the way was forever opened
Yes.
into the very presence of heaven
Yes.
itself and God himself at his throne.
Wow. No
Forever
more
open.
sending in somebody in on your behalf once a year. It's just
Exactly.
God's presence was now available to everyone.
Exactly.
Wow.
And they could come in through Jesus Christ
Wow.
this way.
Unbelievable.
So the old covenant was done at that point.
Okay.
Gone.
Mm-hmm.
There could never be any other sacrifice for sin ever offered again.
Right. Hard to beat what Jesus did, I would say.
Yeah, he did it all. You
Okay,
got it.
okay.
Absolutely. I just wanted to be sure you noticed that. Because when we see this angel in the book of Revelation now, there is an altar of incense right before the throne.
Okay.
That golden altar of incense is right there.
Wow.
No curtain.
Wow. Oh, interesting. Yeah, there is no curtain. No curtain mentioned here. Okay.
And this angel is standing there right by the altar where all those servants of God, God's people, were in the fifth seal.
Yes.
He's standing there, and God gives him a whole bunch of incense. Much incense, enough for the whole salvation of the world,
Okay.
was given him, because that's the fragrance of Jesus' sacrifice.
Yes.
And the answer to their question of, how long, O Lord?
Right.
Until
in the fifth seal, what they were saying. Right.
And now they're going to get the answer.
Okay.
Because that incense goes up with the prayers of those saints. And now's the answer to that question.
Okay.
Isn't this interesting?
Yeah, it is.
So he takes the censer, that golden censer he has in his hand.
The angel does.
The angel does.
Okay.
And he goes and takes some live coals, hot coals, off the altar, stuffs them in this censer, and that angel hurls this golden censer down to the earth. It hits the earth, and immediately there are peals of thunder, rumblings, flashes of lightning, and an earthquake. So the seventh seal is that final judgment. The earth is destroyed. There's not a trace of it left. Now the scroll of the inheritance is totally open.
Okay. All the seals are off.
All the seals are off.
Okay.
It's all accomplished. And the interesting thing is now the silence can be broken. God will now speak. The Word will now create the new heaven and the new earth. And the sons and daughters of God will be face to face with their Father in heaven forever.
Wow. This is really a picture of what is yet to come. But
Yes.
Wow. Amazing.
The end of the world and the beginning of the new heaven and the new earth. That the Word can now come again to speak the new creation. We'll pick that up in Revelation 21.
Okay. So
But-
a ways to go still before we
Ways
come
to
back
go.
to that. All right.
In the meantime, the seven trumpets begin to sound,
Okay.
warning that the kingdom of darkness is judged. Now, before we talk about trumpets, I'd like to go and just have another Old Testament story,
Okay.
if I may.
Of course. Yeah.
There's a story, yes, there is a story of seven trumpets back in the Old Testament. So I think this is really apropos.
Right. Right.
And it happens with the children of Israel. Moses has died, and now Joshua.
Right. Is
Is-
leading the people now.
Yeah, he's
okay.
leading the people. And they get up to a barrier, the Jordan River. And across the Jordan is a city. It's called Jericho.
Right.
The first city in Canaan land. They're coming in from the east, by the way.
Okay. The Israelites are.
The Israelites.
Oh, interesting.
So they come up to Jericho, that barrier, to get into the Canaan land. And across there is this city. Now Joshua sends 2 spies across the river of Jordan into the Canaan land, into the city of Jericho.
Okay.
And the people get suspicious. Something's happening here. And I won't get into all the story, but they had already heard rumors about how God was with these children of Israel.
Right. Right.
And then shortly thereafter, God supernaturally opened up the river so they could go across on dry ground.
Open up the Jordan River.
The Jordan
yes.
River.
Okay, I remember reading
And so
about
the
that.
Israelites go across, and now they're really nervous, and they shut up the city. They won't let anyone get in or
Jericho
out.
did.
Jericho
yes.
did.
Yes.
They are afraid that they were coming after them. They
Right.
knew it.
Right. And in their mind, if there was really a safe place to be, I remember from the story about the walls of Jericho, that was what this city was known for. It was really kind of like a fortress. So they could kind of lock themselves in there.
Yes, and that's what has happened now. So God tells Joshua, I'm going to tell you exactly how to do this. You get 7 priests with 7 ram's horn trumpets. Now, ram's horns, why? Because ram is that sacrificial animal. Horn is the strength.
Wow.
The strength of the sacrifice.
Wow.
7 trumpets that 7 priests are blowing. And right behind those 7 priests with the 7 trumpets, you put the Ark of the Covenant. And before and behind it, you put the army.
Okay. Army kind of taking on less significance here. Much less than you would think anyway when you're trying to take a city.
The center of this army, yes,
Wow.
is the trumpeters, the
Wow.
7 trumpets and the ark.
Wow.
And they're going to march around the city 7 days.
Yeah.
The first day, they marched around the city one time. The whole time, the 7 priests are blowing their trumpets the whole time around the city.
Okay.
6 days they did this. It was warning the city something was happening. Now they're getting real nervous. See, God never judges unless he's given a warning first. He always does. God always warns them.
Wow. Even for people who may reject him, there's always a warning. Always a hand extended, so to speak.
He always says, don't do this.
Yes.
Come back to this.
Wow.
Joshua said, shout, for the Lord has given you the city. And there was a huge shout from the people of God, and the whole city came crashing.
Yeah.
All the walls came
all the
crashing
walls came
down.
tumbling down, as the song goes. Wow.
So this is a picture of what's happening right here with the 7 trumpets.
It's fascinating, though, seeing, again, in the Old Testament, with what God did back then, 7 trumpets. Now we come to Revelation, 7 trumpets. So the links are quite obvious, or at least they start to be when you connect it.
Getting into the promised land, the Canaan land. Back to Revelation, we see a pattern that there's 4 out of the 7s. We see 4 seals, and now we see 4 trumpets. And then we see 5 and 6, and then we have an intermission.
Okay.
And then 7.
And then 7. Okay.
That's going to be true when we talk about the seals, as we have, and the trumpets, and the bowls, which we're going to come up to down the road.
Okay. All right.
So we're ready to launch right into the 4 trumpets.
Okay.
And so that first one, could you read it for us? The first trumpet, it's in verse 7.
Yeah, let's read this. So again, if you have your Bibles following along, we're in chapter 8, verse 7. The first angel sounded, and hail and fire followed, mingled with blood, and they were thrown to the earth. And 1/3 of the earth were burned up, and 1/3 of the trees were burned up, and all green grass was burned up. Sounds terrifying.
It is terrifying. So here we see it has to do with the earth.
Okay.
Let me give you what the hail is first.
Okay. We get a lot of that here in Oklahoma. we
We
might hear it a little bit.
We have thunderstorm warnings again.
We're underneath a thunderstorm warning again, if you can imagine.
But hail is like the rocks.
Okay.
If it hits you, it could kill you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So basically, back in the Old Testament, if someone was a prostitute or not married to somebody and some woman, they would be stoned to death. That was their death.
I remember
their
like the woman caught in the act of adultery that Jesus had to deal with in the Bible. They were about to stone her in front of him.
That was the punishment, exactly, for somebody that was a prostitute or did that.
Yeah.
And so basically, hail represents the stones. It's the way God sends stones from heaven, you might say.
Wow.
In fact, he even used hail sometimes when they were fighting the armies
That's
back
true.
in the Old Testament.
That's true.
So
wow.
hail is coming down, being hurled down on the earth, and it's mixed with fire and blood. It's interesting because you have fire, because that's judgment, and then as a result of the judgment, you have blood, which is death.
Wow. Yes.
And so that's what it is. It's hurled down upon the earth, just like that censer had been hurled down upon the earth.
Wow.
Now, the earth in the book of Revelation represents people.
Okay. This is getting more spooky as we go along.
So basically, what this means is, because remember, Adam was formed of the dust of the earth.
Right, right.
And so that's the human people. They're the lost, really. This is people that are lost.
So as scary as some of this stuff sounds, I think it's important to keep in mind, too, we're talking about the kingdom of darkness here, though. We're not talking about the children of God. We're talking about really those who choose to stay in Satan's camp, so to speak.
Exactly.
Okay.
You hit the nail on the head on that one.
Okay.
So basically, what we see here is a third. Why a third?
A third of the earth being burned up, the trees, the grass, all of that?
Yeah,
Okay.
a third of this.
Yeah.
Why a third? And we're going to see this through these 4 trumpets.
Uh-huh.
A third represents 3 should be life.
Right, right.
But that life that was given is now turned dark in death, being in death camp.
Right.
And so basically, remember a third of the angels fell with Satan from heaven?
Yes, I do.
So this is
it's amazing. Like, I hear stuff like that, and it's like the way it ties together. Yeah, a third of the angels fell from heaven with Satan. They chose to follow Satan. Wow. Okay.
So Ben, you were exactly right when you said about it being the kingdom of darkness, and this is the kingdom of the death camp. And we're talking about the kingdom of darkness here.
Wow.
So it's judged. Anyone that's in that, any inhabitants in here are judged. And notice on the third day, God made plants. That was the first life, because it's food. The food source for man.
Amazing. Wow.
That kingdom has no life, no green thing, no food. You know, there's a tree line. Whenever you get up to the top of the tree line, there's not much vegetation beyond that.
Right, right.
Because if trees can't grow there, nothing else does much.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you need trees. Trees show there's no trees in the desert. No green thing, no food, no life. All these people are dead, spiritually dead.
Wow. So really, though, what this is talking about, I mean, it's not someday we're going to see a third of all the trees in the forest that get wiped out. This is really a symbol again here, referring to clearly now, I see it, Satan's kingdom, that there's no life in that. Even though it's based on those numbers that we've talked about. Wow. Okay, so now what's next?
Next symbol is number 2, the second trumpet, and it's verses 8 and 9.
Okay, so the second trumpet. All right, let me go ahead and read this. Then the second angel sounded his trumpet, and something like a great mountain burning with fire was thrown into the sea. And a third of the sea became blood, and a third of the living creatures in the sea died, and a third of the ships were destroyed. Bad time to go sailing or fishing, I guess.
Exactly.
Man, it's like the earth is really being wiped out here. Okay.
Exactly.
All right. So now, so I picked up on a third in what we read before. I'm assuming there's still some similarity going on here.
This is about the kingdom of darkness. Okay?
Yes.
So we've already established what the third means.
Okay.
This is good.
Okay.
So it's a huge mountain. Now, mountains represent kingdoms.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So this is a huge mountain.
Right.
This giant thing, and it's all ablaze. It's judged.
It's on fire.
It's on fire.
Okay, okay.
And it's thrown into the sea. So what do you think this huge kingdom is? It's thrown, all judged and thrown into the sea. Has to be the kingdom of darkness.
Right, right.
The kingdom of the world.
Right.
Because the sea also in the book of Revelation represents kingdoms.
Okay. The sea does, like the ocean.
Like it says, it uses the word sea. So the earth is the people, the sea is the kingdoms.
Okay.
And we'll see this again some more later on in Revelation. So we're getting these symbols right off the bat here.
Okay.
And what happens as soon as that mountain hits the sea? What happens? It turns it to blood.
Yeah. It's gross.
See, in other words, it's dead.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a dead sea. So anything living, all the living creatures in it die. So anything, all life perishes in these kingdoms.
Wow.
In this kingdom.
Wow.
And then even the ships can't sail on it. The ships represent the way this kingdom operates. They buy and sell. And this is how they ship things. The ships of the buying and selling, that's how it is. You have to buy and sell your birthright or whatever it happens to be. You have to buy and sell it.
Yeah. Wow.
It's all a human way of running the kingdom.
And it doesn't work anymore. Yeah, I thought it's an interesting kind of little note to have at the end of that about the ships. Wow.
Yeah, the ships. Why the ships? It has to do the way the kingdom operates.
The way the world works. Wow.
So that's symbolic again. So you
Okay.
can see clearly this system, this kingdom is a broken, dead kingdom.
Right. And so to be clear, it's because I've heard people talk about these verses before, and it's like, wow, that's going to be crazy when it's like you go to the ocean, you dip your hand, and you're like, whoa, it's blood. It's not physically meaning that. It's a symbol of what is happening in the kingdom of darkness.
Yes.
Wow.
Exactly.
And that makes the way you were walking us through this, it really does make a lot more sense when you see how it relates back to things that are already in the Bible.
Exactly.
Wow.
Moving right along, we're getting to that third angel sounding his trumpet, and it's in verses 10 and 11.
Great.
Ben.
You guys ready for more? Earth is having a really bad day today. Okay.
Got it.
All right. So the third trumpet, verse 10. Then the third angel sounded his trumpet, and a great star fell from heaven, burning like a torch, and it fell on a third of the rivers and on the springs of water. The name of the star is Wormwood. A third of the waters became wormwood, and many men died from the water because it was made bitter. Okay, again, I'm still seeing similarities there from what we just read before. Okay.
Yeah, you got it. This is a great star. Blazing like a torch.
Right, on fire again.
It's on fire, and it's a great star.
Okay.
We talk about a lot of stars down here in this kingdom of this earth.
Okay, now wait, hang on. All right, I don't want to jump ahead too much.
Well, jump ahead.
Okay, all right. So I'm remembering from the Old Testament, I forget who said it, but he said, I watched Satan fall like lightning from heaven. Am I going in the right direction? Am I getting warmer? Okay.
You got the symbol. You got the symbol, Ben.
I'm piecing it together here.
He fell from heaven.
Okay.
This is Satan.
Wow.
And you know, we talk about all the stars down here.
Yeah.
But they mimic that. These worldly stars mimic that great star.
Wow.
Satan himself. Interesting. And so what does he hit? What does this hit?
So he hits the rivers and the springs of water.
That's the source of where you get your water.
Right.
That flows into the sea.
Yes.
The very source of the water that should be life-producing.
Right. Should be a source of life, really.
Yeah. And now it's becoming bitter. It's becoming... Wormwood means bitter.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah.
In fact, he doesn't want you to miss his name. Satan makes things that should be sweet and wonderful. He makes them bitter. Back in the Old Testament, the first place that the Israelites came to get some water was Mara, which means bitter.
Okay.
And they couldn't drink it.
Right. I remember they couldn't drink the water.
It would make them die.
Yeah.
And you know what Moses did? God had him throw in a branch of wood into the water, and the water turned sweet, and they could drink it, and they had life from the water.
Wow.
It's kind of like that wood would represent the cross.
Right.
The cross turns this bitter water into something you can drink.
Amazing.
The river of life, but this is the river of death in the kingdom of darkness.
Wow. Just that symbolism. I mean, it's everywhere.
Everywhere.
Revelation really is piecing a lot of this together for me, where you just think, oh, that's interesting that Moses did that, but you're like, whoa, wait, it all connects here.
So it goes on to say that many people died from the bitterness of this water.
Right.
Not the whole world, because there's going to be the saints that are going to take that cross.
Yes.
And they're going to have the water
the sweet
of life.
water, really.
The sweet water.
Okay.
The water of life.
Yes.
But the kingdom of darkness, the source of anything that should be life is death producing out of that kingdom of darkness, because Satan himself is the king over that darkness.
Boy.
Moving right along to number 4. Last one in the chapter.
We're not done yet, Earth.
It's the 12th verse.
Okay. All right. So the fourth trumpet. Okay. Then the fourth angel sounded his trumpet, and a third of the sun was struck, a third of the moon, and a third of the stars, so that a third of them were darkened. A third of the day did not shine, and likewise the night. Wow.
Here we see the sun, moon, and stars created on that 4th day to be the light on the earth. They're struck, and they turn dark. A third of and also a third of the day and a third of the night. In other words, even day and night, there's absolutely no light. It's absolutely utter darkness.
Wow. No difference.
It's the end of the world. The lights have gone out on the end of the world. This is the 4th one. The end of the kingdom of darkness. The lights go out.
4th being the number of the earth. It's the end of it.
It goes out.
Wow.
It's done.
Wow.
When we saw the 4th seal, remember? That horse was a pale horse.
Pale horse of death. You're right.
And it headed south.
Wow.
It's going down. And the last enemy of God is destroyed. The earth is destroyed. It's done.
Wow. Good grief.
That's it. So then we hear an angel flying in the middle of heaven. He calls out in a loud voice. He's giving a very important warning. He says, woe, woe, woe. That word woe means an exclamation of grief.
Okay.
This is
like
terrible.
Woe to something.
Woe to something.
Okay.
It's going to cause terrible grief. And he says, woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth.
Wow.
This is those
in
the kingdom
Again,
of darkness.
in the kingdom of darkness.
Yes.
people who believe in Christ, even
Yes.
though we are living in this world, obviously, we're in this world, but not of it.
Yes, this
Okay.
is to those that are in the kingdom of darkness. Exactly, Ben.
Okay.
Exactly as you're saying there. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth for the trumpet blast yet to be sounded by the next 3 angels.
Okay. Yeah, there's still 3 more to go.
3 more to go. And that's it.
I don't want it to
Angels
stop.
5
I
and
want to
6.
keep going. I want to keep going. Man, okay.
Angels 5 and 6, the trumpets of 5 and 6.
5 and 6 are tomorrow in chapter 9.
5 and 6.
Okay. Wow. No, you know what's been amazing to me from going through this book is just seeing how it really, and I know I keep saying it, but it really ties everything together. I mean, the more that you have walked us through this, the more I see it's not confusing when you're reading it in light of the entire Bible.
Exactly.
I mean, it's even though it's located in the New Testament, it's not just from there. It goes back to the Old Testament. It just brings everything together. I think that's what's so beautiful about this book. It really is incredible.
Exactly. Yeah.
Man, guys. Well, hey, listen, thank you so much for joining us today for Chapter 8. So glad that you guys are here. Well, that's going to do it for us today. Again, thank you for joining us. Come back tomorrow for Chapter 9. Till then, hope you have a beautiful day. God bless you guys, wherever you may find yourself watching this from. We love you. We'll see you back here tomorrow.